Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm Frozen, and today we are continuing on with a bit of Moonlighter. But before we start, if I am correct, are we going to sell stuff, or we're just going to go straight into a dungeon? We'll do a 2-dungeon run, same as last time, then we'll probably worry about selling stuff. That will be the plan. Because I need more resources to get the most out of a day, and I think that is the way to go. After we did have our first death on the other one, so it is needed, it is needed. So let's jump in. Let's see how we do. So, yeah, I'm doing alright. I've been messing around, voice crack. I've been messing around with a lot of my mic settings at the moment, because with the new mic, I don't know, I just never feel like the voice is the way that I want it, and that could just be because that's how my voice has always sounded. We just got the molars, nice. Oh, training gloves, just the training ones. Yeah, we can upgrade those though. So yeah, I haven't done really much else. Nothing's really changed since the other video uploads, although some of them might be in a bit out of order because I'm an idiot. I'm not really an idiot, just more of I just took a bunch of recordings and I was like, when should I put them up? And then I was fiddling with voice settings and kind of forgot which ones were meant to go up in which order. So they've gone up now, which is fine. And I'm trying now to create a small backlog for the weekend, and hopefully that will all go well. Who knows though, right? Been talking about all sorts of random stuff recently. Although I don't know really much. I mean, work's going alright. As it always does, right? But I mainly just been wanting a bit of time to myself, which is kind of not going to happen as things stand at the moment. Just with like the weekend and family planning and all that jazz. It makes me sound horrible when I say it, when it's like, yeah, I'd rather just spend some time by myself, you know? But it's just the way I'm built. Let's drop down, see what's down here. Ooh. Thank you very much, we'll take that. Got an achievement, 10 secret rooms. Been looking and seeing if there's any good games coming up at the moment, and to be honest, I'm kind of just disappointed in the fact that there aren't very many. You know? I honestly would love to sit there and say, oh yeah, there's gonna be this amazing game coming up soon, or stuff like that, right? And be like, really looking forward to something. But there just isn't. And I know it's just not me that kind of thinks like that either. There's probably a bunch of people here like will watch this and be like, yeah, actually there isn't really anything kind of like shouting out. Like, I'm not excited for anything. Which I think is a bit disappointing, because there can be so many good games, but we're just not seeing them at the moment, right? Oh, I forgot to get I got the potions. Let's kill him off, nice and easy. Yeah, we won't go into the goo dungeons. We'll leave that for a bit later. But yeah, although I'm trying to broaden my skill set in my free time as well, after realizing that, you know, I've got a lot of stuff that I don't know how to do, especially with like the mic settings and stuff like that, I was like, I need to figure that stuff out, right? So that's kind of like all the other stuff that's going to be on my list next, you know? And maybe, like, actually, like, do a proper video editing course or something. Like, that could probably be a good idea. You know? No idea, really, but should probably learn a little bit more. Maybe, like, get some of this content on here a little bit better. Many things need improvements, and I am an extremely lazy person. Even at the best of times. I don't mean to be, but I just am. You know? Oh, I didn't even need to use that. I've always said it, like, I'm literally, I'm a creature of convenience. I'd rather something be more convenient for me to do than it would be to go out my way to go and do it. Because if I have to go out my way to go and do something, it just feels like, well, why do I have to go out my way, right? It just feels like it's way too much effort to even bother doing that. I can't put 2 of those. I can't stack anything else. Even if I do get, like, some of these. I can probably see what the 4 is, though, right? Oh, it's those things, so that's even worse. Is it? I might as well drop these in there, because I'm probably not using those for any time soon. And drop the pipes in as well. You need to go in a corner where you're not going to affect anyone, that's fine. And the same for you. There we go. We have sorted. But yeah, I've been kind of just enjoying stuff at the moment. It's going to be nice to relax, play a lot of different games. Had some really good games with Spell Rogue recently, so, you know, if any of you are interested in that game, go check it out. They're pretty good runs. And I think I got one that I haven't put up, but it is recorded, and if people want me to put it up, it's just really bad audio quality, because it's a recording that I made before the new mic came in, which, yeah, just the Isaac run, you kind of understand like that, and I think there were other issues with it as well, so it wasn't a bad run, it was a really good run. I absolutely loved it, it's just, yeah. I was like, do I really want to put this up? And then I was like, I'll just re-record it, and then re-recorded it, and got it. The run that you saw on there, you've seen it. Yeah, I am very looking forward to the weekend, and a bit of time off as well. Like, having that booked is always useful. No, take away the cheap stuff. And that... Ooh, goes there then. Inventory management to the limit. You get sold there. No, I don't need any more of the goo. The goo is fine. But I'm in max, so I get my armor, right? Other than that, I don't know, like, what games are pretty good? I mean, there's the Altars, which is an interesting game that I saw. Oh, a mate of mine turned around and mentioned it to me, and I was like, actually, that looks really interesting. And then my mind kind of ran away with what I thought the game would be, and it probably never turned out like that. So, like, although the game's gonna be good, I'm probably, you know, my brain has gone a little bit too ahead of itself, right? Which is fine. It's fine. Just, I gotta remember that. Which one are you more expensive? So yeah, that is on my radar as a game I might be interested in. But yeah, like there's nothing really that kind of stands out. And, like I've pretty much like stopped getting certain games now for just like monetary differences. Like everything costs way too much. And like I don't have enough free time to play through all the games I want to play. And that I enjoy playing through either, right? So I kind of was just like, if that's the case, then like I should just focus on the games I've got currently, and then we'll worry about the rest later, right? But yeah. I used the potion. I keep dropping in holes in my dodge. It's terrible. Now, I probably got enough resources I can probably just leave, and we should probably do that. Just take what we got, because I'm running out of potions. So go back to town, sell all this stuff, and then do what needs to be done, I guess. Yeah? Yeah. Cool, and the other thing has hatched. So a turret. Could take him into the dungeon, but I still like the guy that picks stuff up for me. As I said, I am lazy. Okay, so we've got some weapons that we can kind of chuck in here as well. Could sell them, but I might want to upgrade them, and that could be a good idea to do that. That goes in there, there. So they're all sellable. And the rest of this stuff goes in here, because it's stuff that I can actually use to upgrade things. Now we definitely got enough to maybe push ourselves, so we'll do one more run. And then maybe finishing off with a quick sell. So I need to get some like body armor, and yeah, that's the thing we got to do. And I don't know, I haven't really been thinking about it a lot recently. Just been kind of just swept off my feet with loads of things, but then like it's not a load of things. Like, have you guys ever felt like that, where it's just, oh, I forgot to get potions again? Where it's just like you feel like you got a lot of stuff to do, and it kind of feels overwhelming, but it's not really a lot of stuff to do. It's just stuff that needs to be done, right? And like I've been so caught up with like work and stuff and other things that I kind of just, yeah, I don't know. I know it's a fault of my own creation as such, but I kind of tend to focus on the things I probably don't need to. Ooh, we can just send stuff home with that. So let's go and fill my bag up and send loads of stuff home. Give me all your stuff, I don't care what it is, we're going to send it home. I mean, I played through Space Marine 2, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Was debating on doing some co-op stuff with some mates of mine as well, so that's on the cards at the moment, which is going to be fun. Like, but it's just finding the time for us to all organise and stuff to do things. Got a plan to go and see a mate of mine. Was not feeling the best the other day, so I kind of delayed it, and like we'll go, you know, and have a catch up later, which would be nice. See how he's doing. And then, yeah, it's just a lot more planning, birthdays and stuff to plan for, and everything else as well. Plus, then start getting some of the Xmas shopping sorted, because I'd rather be ahead on that than not. I've always said I've been a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas. Mainly through personal experiences of celebration and stuff. I've never really had very... Like, I've had positive experiences, but they always get soured by, like, negativity and everything else, because someone has to ruin it for the collective, right? They really do. Like, I moan about it on a quite a large basis, that it's just like, stuff can never just be simple. Everyone has to overcomplicate things and then just, like, make things more of a problem than they really are. And it is infuriating, right? Because like, why does it have to be so complex? Like, everything can be boiled down to, like, basic necessities and of what is required and what isn't required, and yet everyone has to try and make things, like, 10 times more complicated than anything is ever needed to be, right? No idea why, but it's a thing that's always bothered me, and it always will do to, like, the end of time. I'm a very simplistic person. I tend to, you know, get stuff sorted in a way that is going to be better for me. I'll say that though, I picked up a bunch of stuff. I can go straight back to base. There we go. And might as well do this dungeon then, as we've got the extra room to take stuff with us. So let's jump in. Yeah. Like, I've said it like many times before, stuff always seems to get over complex, and like it's never needed, but it has to be because, you know, someone has to make it more complex because they do, right? If they don't make it more complex, then what do they do, right? Take those. Let's move on. Saying that though, what? I have been messing around with some old stuff I used to mess around with and planning out really weird things like story ideas and stuff like that, which is been kind of nice. Being back into that sort of kind of like world building type mindset. Used to do it quite a lot, you know, when I was bored and stuff and had nothing else to do, and that was kind of my creative outlet before I did this. So it's just like I've recently been getting like really good ideas and stuff I kind of want to, at least what I think are good ideas. They'll never probably see the light of day because, you know, me being lazy and all that. But they are things I'll end up working on, spending a bit of time with, and stuff like that. Like, magic systems are always my favourite thing to go through and design and re-go over. Mainly because you can do so much with them. But the most basic of it is to kind of keep that limitation in. And we've already had the gloves before. Okay, gloves, guess you're replacing my sword and shield. Let's continue. So I always have an idea of like, okay, so if you want to create a magic system or stuff like that, like, I'm no expert in the field. I always tend to start off with something simple like, you know, what is the source of what fuels this stuff, yeah? Like, where does it come from? And is there anything that is basically, you know, is there something that's used as a payment towards that? Is it something more complex? Is it something simple? You know, and where does that come from? How does it exist? This helps build up the idea of not just the magic, but like the world itself. Because it's like, okay, well, if this exists, how does it do? And then the next things I always look at as well is, okay, so if magic exists in this world, what is its technological standing within this world? Is it quite high? Is it quite low? Like, do people use it for basic tasks? Is basically what you're thinking. And then relate it back to how our world functions. If you're getting stuff like, you know, an idea, it's like, okay, well, 9 times out of 10, if we've got technology that is new and is, you know, is like experimental, we'll use it for war first, because of course we will, right? Like, why wouldn't we? We're that sort of species. It's unfortunate, but it's exactly what we do. We use everything for war. So, like, a magic system will be based around that in the first place. So it's like, okay, so if my magic system is based around this idea people are going to use it for war, how does that affect other things? Yeah? And then once it gets passed through, is it just because the fact that it's not used for war? Is it too weak to be used for? Why isn't it being used for war? You know? An almighty power should be used for war regardless of what it is, right? Oh, come on. I'm trying to kill you off. Without taking damage, but I guess that's not happening. No, let me... Yeah, I got that. So it's kind of like a catch-22 when it comes to those sort of things. You go then, okay, so if you have like basic fire magic, how powerful is it in comparison to like, you know, a sword? If you're going for like a fantasy setting and stuff like that, like, is there any limitations to that magic? Can it be stopped with like just basic armor? Is it something that is more complex than that? Does it take quite a lot to cast? Is it even feasible to cast it in combat? Or is it something that's more used as like a utility? Can they even use fire itself without having to create fire in the first place? Does it require concentration? Like all these sort of things where it's just like you base them off kind of like how other systems work beforehand and think about, you know, the implications of that thing. So let's say we have a, you know, a system of magic, kind of based similar to like, you know, mana, keys, stuff like that, right? You can start off with something like that there. So where does this resource exist? Is it something that is within the human body or exists outside the human body? And then you go world building wise of like, okay, so it's something that exists within the human body itself, or, you know, the caster's body, but it also can exist outside of that as well. Okay, so the simple question is, it's easier for humans and a mage or something like that to essentially cast this magic from within themselves, but not use the external magic, right? Like, that's kind of a very simplistic way to look at it straight away. Like, it is very, you know, it doesn't sound too complex or unheard of to think that humans should look at the simplest solution to something like that and go, yep, that's how we use it, right? Because of course we would. That's, you know, we're simple creatures. We don't go too complex unless we have to. Right? So then you could have, say, another species that is able to utilize that a lot more efficiently than humans. You know? And then this is where you get stuff like, you know, elves, stuff like that. You use your fantasy races that can be thrown in, you know, that can commune with nature, that can use mana from nature, stuff like that. And then, you know, if you want to add more darker tones to the mana or stuff like that, you require it to have a sacrifice while casting that. So not only have you got to pay with the mana, but you got to pay with some other form as well, right? Just drop down here, see what's in here first. Hold to use. Oh, this is one of those ones, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, teleport out. We're not risking it, and we'll sell our stuff after. You know, and it's that kind of idea. Then it's the next thing is how you scale it, and how do you make things feasible with it. So this is where I think a lot of sort of homebrew magic systems end up coming a bit unstuck. Is they end up wanting the magic to do everything, and it seems to be, as most people call it, a Deus Ex Machina. You know, it's your end-all, be-all of get-out-of-jail-free card because I can just do that. That's a badly designed magic system. But if you explain it and show what it's capable of doing, you can allow people to basically be smart with your system. Yeah? And that's what I like about kind of like developing something is, okay, well, if I develop the basics of it and everything else as well, like what could be feasibly done with it? How can I make it look more fantastical than it actually is? And then that's something you can then work towards when it comes to like after you've fully fleshed it all out and work that way as well. Like it's very simplistic in the way that I end up then kind of like focusing on stuff, and I've done them a few times, and you know, use them for novelty purposes more than anything else as well. Helps keep my brain functioning and, you know, applying all this information elsewhere. Yeah, but like a basic fire spell would be something you think, okay, well, if you've got a basic fire spell, like it's going to be used for combat, it's probably going to be used just around the household for lighting things and simple aspects. You know, heating, boiling water, those sort of aspects as well. Like, there are many different ways that they can use those particular tools, and that's what you've got to be thinking about when you essentially put those things forwards, right? They are sought after. Okay. Up the price of them a little bit. No, it was the, oh, that was like dirt cheap, wasn't it? Fine, we'll make them more expensive. There you go. So I end up messing around with like the rules and stuff that you can kind of like get stuff to function. And then it's like, how do you explain elemental magic? So fire is kind of easy in the sense that, you know, a human being can light a fire. It's one of the first things we end up focusing on when we end up doing anything, right? Dirty was dirt cheap. 40 then. So you end up looking at in that kind of aspect and going, okay, well, if we know we've got the normal basic elements, you think, okay, so someone's probably going to be like, you know, earth, fire, water, wind. Then you got your more complex stuff like lightning, magma. And then it's like, do you develop things into like poison magic? Yeah? Like, how does that come about? Healing itself, how does that come about as well, right? These are all things that you end up got to kind of like watching. About like, how does the healing magic work? Is it something that is very simplistic in its design, or is it something that requires a lot more effort because you've got to know what you're doing? Is it automatic, or is it more of an applied science? Yeah? Like, you have to kind of like end up looking at these sort of things. Like, I might be going too many ways, but it's the way I end up doing it, and I feel like, yeah, like that is how I would end up doing stuff, right? Come on, thief. Either steal something or leave. You're really frustrating me. Stole from my cash register. How dare they? It's even worse. So yeah, like there's like many different ways I end up thinking about stuff, and like I normally will first of all with the world is think to myself, okay, well, how does this end up being used? You know, like gone too far, like water itself can be used in many different ways as well. From things as just like, you know, basically creating water out of nowhere in the middle of a desert, and then if you've got someone that can literally create water rather than just manipulate it, that means it's very easy for them to colonize things like deserts. And then is it built as a necessity? Does this mean that the mages themselves can basically find jobs in that society by creating water, or do they control it because they create the water? And then you can have this sort of darker side to it where it's just like, yeah, you've got this entire desert city built with these elite people in society that are basically just mages that are able to create water for the populace, and they charge an extraordinarily large amount for it. You think, okay, well, if we've got that, then, you know, we've got people that are oppressed, people that need saving, need people that, you know, like, and how does that work? Can they cast magic? Can they not cast magic? If they can't cast magic, how do I plan to let them fight back? And this is kind of how my brain then starts going through those sort of ideas of, okay, so they can't cast magic, how do they fight back? What's the best way? Is there ways that they can negate magic? Is there ways that they can, you know, maybe it's just they don't understand magic, so they seek help from mages themselves, or do they basically try and find other ways to find water themselves? Or, you know, it's that sort of interesting dynamic. And like once you start building these things, building blocks add to more building blocks, and you end up having everything interconnected with each other. Like just because someone can cast magic doesn't necessarily mean that that's just the end of it. There's a lot of parameters, I believe, that end up going around that idea of the fact that if you can create something from something else, how does that benefit you? How does that benefit society? How is that a detriment in itself, right? Because like the other version of that is, okay, so you, instead of having this giant city where mages are the elite, the mages are slaves, and, you know, they're forced to sit there and basically create water for the masses on a constant basis with no way out. And the only reason they're doing that is because water magic is clearly very underpowered. Yeah? Like, they just create water, they don't do anything else. So they have no way of attacking or fighting back, which then creates a different dynamic in the story. And this is kind of how you can constantly develop ideas, and making them interlinking, I think, can also add to the simplicity of how you create your world while still making it complex. But yeah, that's just me, you know. Food for thought and all that. But we made some good money today. We made some good money. And we got some resources. We should have enough stuff for the armor as well, which we'll do in the next one. And then maybe we can start pushing towards like later floors and maybe opening up some of the zones. But again, if you enjoy this video, do leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.